Welcome, everybody, to the Just Add Bourbon podcast. I'm Jimmy Don Kerr.
And I'm J.D. Damer.
Oh, it's another beautiful Sunday here in the hills of Eastern Kentucky. It's Easter Sunday, JD. It's been a good day. I went and ate my guts out and then passed out. It was awesome.
Yeah, that always sounds like a fun time to me, man. It sounds like my everyday life.
Did you do anything fun for the Easter holiday?
No, I went to and hang out with my brother yesterday for his birthday, April 3rd, and camped out at the Kentucky Horse Park. Had a really nice time. I drove home today, and I took a good nap. So, yeah, I did something really nice for Easter. I took a killer nap. So
took a great nap. Well, I went over. My Aunt Rita cooked. The kids hunted eggs. It was fun. I fell asleep in the recliner. It was a good time. It really was. I said, I know that sounds really boring, but it's so what I need or needed. Was just a day not to really do anything and kind of chill out. So let's take care, JD, of a little housekeeping before we jump in headlong into the show. The Donnie Baker show is coming up here in a couple of weeks. We have 75 tickets left, guys, and they're going to go quick. So if you have not purchased your Donnie Baker tickets yet, you need to go ahead and get them because a lot of people have jumped in and got them, but these last 75 will go fast. Like we sold 30 in the last 2 days. And so we want to get that rounded off. We want to sell out for Donnie Baker. So, make sure you're getting in and getting your tickets up because we got some business sponsorships that are going to come up and it's going to eat some tickets up too.
Quick.
So you better get in there and buy your tickets.
Yeah, I've even been messaging people, man, on Facebook. Hey, if you can't get your tickets, you need to get them. Like 75 tickets ain't many, man. And especially when these, like I said, these businesses are about ready to start getting their deals and start buying sponsorships. Those tickets are going to be swallowed up pretty quickly. So you better be grabbing them if you want them. And you want them. I'm telling you, this is going to be a killer show. Pretty excited.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun, man. I said I'm looking forward to it. To have somebody like Donnie Baker, that level of a comedian, actually in Inez is kind of crazy. And I'm really looking forward to it, man. I can't wait. I can't wait to hear UMC. I can't wait to, hear Chris and Johnny Lee and all those guys, man. It's going to be a lot of fun.
So that's one thing, man. Like people don't know these other two guys, but Chris and Johnny Lee is going to kill. Like I can't wait for, the crowd to get the experience of those guys. But make sure you understand this is an 18 plus show. I want to say that right now before Chris gets on stage.
Yes. 18 and over. You cannot be under the age of 18. We will not let you in because it's going to be adult for sure. And if that's not what you're into, if you're not into that kind of thing, then you better not come. So that's all I can tell you.
Absolutely, man.
These guys are hilarious.
So go ahead.
Well, I want to talk, JD. You mentioned about camping. You talked about going camping. How comfortable was it?
Oh man, I had to sleep on the little fold-out bed, man. Like in the, and it wasn't comfortable at all. Like it was better. Like you said, it's better than sleeping on the ground. It's better than sleeping in the tent. But as far as comfort level goes, it ain't up par. But just had to do what you had to do. That's why I slept rough, bro. I know I kept everybody up to the camper too. I snored my hind end off, but I couldn't get comfortable, man. You know how those beds are flat and hard like that. You're gonna snore. That's just all it is. And
oh no, facts, man. Like before JD and I came on, we were sitting here chatting, and he was telling me that he went camping, and I said, "Look, brother, I have a camper, and I enjoy going camping. Like I enjoy the sitting around the campfire and hanging out with the kids, and we usually have a big crew over. JD's daughter and all the friends come over, and we cook, and all that stuff's a lot of fun. Oh no, listen, Aunt Bonnie, did you kidnap my mom?" Jimmy, don't I have your mom? So my mom is on.
What do you want? What do you want, Mommy?
What is this, a raffle or a ransom request? Is that what you're trying to do live on my podcast? Is you're trying to ransom for my mother?
I would play it right here in front of everybody.
Yeah, that's right. We'll play it out. That's how you do it. My family gets gangster like that.
I have your mother.
But no, as far as like camping goes, like I said, it's yes.
Yes.
No, as far as camping goes, though, like I really enjoy everything about it except for going to bed. And it is, one of those deals where I would just assume come to the house and go to sleep and then come back over during the day. Like even like if it's hot out at all during the day, I want no part of it.
Right.
Like if I go camping, I want it to be cool where you can build the fire and you can cook. If it's hot, I'd soon stay at the house.
There's no escape, man. You know what I'm saying? If you're at the campground, there's really you're just gonna have to be hot and sweaty. Ain't that the
That's
worst,
right.
man? Getting sweaty like that, and like there
Yes.
ain't nothing you can do about it. Just sit in it.
I
Yeah,
despise it, man. I
Actually,
really
the temperature was actually really good. They went out camping. They've been out there all week, and you know it's been cold. It was cold last week, man. And I'm glad I didn't go to yesterday because it started warming up. Yesterday was beautiful, perfect for camping. But yeah, like you're just at the mercy of Mother Nature if you're out in the camping like that because there ain't nothing you can do about nothing. You know, it's there.
No, absolutely. No. So did they stay out there all week? Like, do they go to work and then come back and just
Yeah, I think
crash
so.
there?
Yeah, well, I think Brian works from home
Mhm.
with his job, and Chas, she works just a few days a week at the hospital, and so yeah, they stayed out there all week. The kids were on spring break in Scott County, so I think they stayed there almost all week last week. Yeah,
And it was at the horse park, right? That's a pretty nice
Yeah.
campground.
it is. That's my first time ever being there, but it's really nice. Yeah, it was
Yeah.
nice little setup.
Well, cool.
I took his dog out for a walk this morning, man. I
Oh,
got to tell
really?
you a story. He's got a big boxer, beautiful dog. Man, that dog does not want to be walked. Like he'll walk you. Like I'm a big guy, man. He was dragging me all over at campground, and we got back to where I was trying to get him back in the camper. And man, first off, he pissed on every tree in the park. I was like, bro, your bladder is ridiculous. But anyway, we come back trying to get back in the camper, and he starts shaking his head, slinging his head. He, get hunched down on his back legs, starts slinging his head. I pulled the leash off his head, and he got free on me. And I went to panic mode. Like I thought, people had the little dogs in their little play areas, little fenced in areas, and like Rossi could eat those dogs. Like I was worried, man. I was like, oh my god, here we go. I'm going to jail right now.
Yeah, thought he was going to go get a snack.
Yeah, so ended up, man, we got him back, but it wasn't easy. Like it was like a community effort to get that dog back in the camper.
The horse park is cool for the Christmas lights. If nobody's ever been down there and done that, that is a good time. It's beautiful down there. And it's just a beautiful place, too. The horse park's really nice.
Yeah, it really is. Yeah, sure is.
Yeah. All right, JD, so let's jump into some topics. All right, so the national championship game, March Madness, is set for Monday night at 9:20. You got the Gonzaga Bulldogs going against the Baylor Bears, and you got Gonzaga going for an undefeated season. And, dude, last night, that Gonzaga UCLA game was probably one of the best college basketball games I've watched in a long, long time. Like, it'll compare up there to Kentucky Duke, when we had the unforgettables where, you basically got the monster going against the underdog, and the underdog going toe to toe, with the big boy.
Yeah, so like it's weird. Like, did UCLA just come out of nowhere this year during this tournament?
Yeah, dude, they were in the play-in game.
Really?
Yes, they beat Michigan State in the play-in game. Yes,
wow. That's crazy.
And you had and you had our guy that played for Kentucky last year who barely played, Johnny Juzang. He ended up transferring because he got homesick and went back out to the West Coast, went to UCLA. Dude, he would have been the player of the tournament. If they had gotten to the finals, he would have been the player of the tournament. He was owning people last night. Yes. And like at the end of the game, dude, it was a heavyweight fight. They were going back and forth. Each time they'd score, went to overtime. And then Juzang misses a shot, grabs his own rebound, lays it back in to tie the game up. 2 seconds left to go in the game. Gonzaga inbounds the ball, throws it up basically to half court. Guy takes 2 steps, shoots it, nails it. And that's how they win the game.
That's crazy. You know how emotional that had to be. That's crazy. Lost their last 4 games before the tournament. So UCLA lost their last 4 games before the tournament. Get in and make a crazy run like that. That's unreal.
It's unreal.
That's what the fun thing about March Madness is. I'm not a basketball guy. Like I didn't watch the game at all this year. So I watched a couple of halves at 2 different points. One half of the Kentucky game and then one half of the Loyola Chicago game. But that's the one thing March Madness does give you, man. Those underdogs coming through and doing some craziness like that. That's awesome, though. Good for those. Good. Congratulations, UCLA. I know it's a heartbreaking way to lose, but you wasn't even supposed to be there, man. So don't dwell on it too hard, man.
It was unbelievable. Nick Cronin's their coach. He coached Cincinnati for a long time. And to get them there, man. And like I said, to see Juzang do what he did, when at Kentucky could barely get off the bench, and what he did, he was a spot up shooter. He was shooting threes. Dude, he was taking it to the rack. He was shooting threes. He was rebounding, played decent defense. I mean, it was unbelievable. I mean, it really was. And then Gonzaga, they're good. But now I'm here to tell you right now, I cannot wait till Monday night because Baylor beat the brakes off of Houston and looked awesome. I mean, they looked awesome. So this is essentially the two best teams in college basketball all year. Those were the two best teams consistently. They're going to play in the finals. I'm pumped. I mean, you had all these upsets, but you got 2 1 seeds getting ready to lock horns, and it's the 2 best 1 seeds. So it's going to be fun, man. I can't wait till Monday night.
Who you got? Who you taking? I'm going to go Baylor just because I don't want Gonzaga to. I thought about it. I don't want them to get that undefeated season. I kind of like to see that be ruined.
I kind of going for Baylor too because I don't want Gonzaga to get the undefeated season, but I really like Mark Few, and I think he's done it right. And you think about what he's built there at Gonzaga. I mean, they're a national power now, and they've been to the Final Four many times. First time they actually got into the championship game, and they're good, man. I mean, they're really good, and I like Few. So if he wins, I'm not going to be too upset. I just don't think they can be considered one of the greatest teams of all time because of the regular season schedule they play.
Right.
They don't play anybody in conference. And, if they're in the SEC or the Big Ten or the ACC or one of those conferences, they're going to lose some games.
Yeah.
And so, the conference they're in, they hadn't been in a game under double digits in 40-some games.
Jeez. Oh, yeah. So I was told that West Virginia was the only team that they didn't beat by double digits.
Yeah.
They beat them 8.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, which now they did step up and play some bigger teams this year.
Sure.
Played 5, but still going night for night like a Tuesday, Thursday night. You know what I'm saying?
Right. There's a big difference between picking a power team once a week than playing them 3 times a week. It's a big difference. Being able to get that motor running, be able to get that game preparation, be able to execute night in, night out. It's a big difference. So yeah. I'm with you on that. I think if he playing a better conference, we can start talking about one of the greatest teams of all time. We're playing out there and whatever it is they're playing in. No, I can't get on board with that one.
Yeah, I'm interested to see too because Baylor was really good, dude. I didn't know they were that good. They were really good, and they beat the brakes off of Houston. And Houston was a good team.
Yeah, there's in the Final Four. It's crazy that Baylor's even good like that. I just don't see Baylor as a basketball school, but I guess maybe they are.
Yeah, I don't know. So a couple other things, to kind of go back on what we talked about last week. We talked a whole lot about the county judge executives race here in Martin County. Not race, but the appointment that the governor's going to make. And, we kind of talked about whether or not I was going to throw my name in the hat. And I was going to just update everybody and update JD that I did put my application in. I do not think that I am a favorite to get the job. I think that the gentleman we talked about last week that's been a magistrate here in our county for many, many years is the favorite, and which is fine. And if he gets appointed, I would be perfectly fine with that. Right. But I did go ahead and throw my name in. It took me a long time. I didn't decide till Tuesday. I think JD and I talked after the show last week, and I was like, man, I don't know what I'm going to do. And then Monday I was like, I can't do this. And then Tuesday I just decided, I was like, I kind of worked some things out in my head and worked a couple of things out. And I thought, okay, look, I'm going to throw my name in here. Worst thing that could happen would be, they wouldn't select me. And, what's that change my life? Not at all.
Or the worst thing that could happen is they do select you.
Right. The worst thing they could do is select me. So, and then I got to go in there and try to figure out how to do that. But that would be fine too. I would look forward to that challenge. I think that would be fun. But I don't think I'm going to be the guy that gets selected. So, I don't have any false sense of hope as far as that's concerned, about that. But I did want to. I thought, JD, the worst thing is I get my name out there as a potential candidate down the road if it's something I want to run. People at least know that I'm interested.
Yeah, sure. So what was it that finally told you that you was going to decide to put your name in there?
There was just some conversations. I was being pushed in a couple of different directions by some different people, as a potential candidate, and people wanting to back me and different things. And I just had a conversation with them and said, look, I appreciate it. And if you want to help me, I appreciate it. But you've got to understand that there will be no personal favors given because you help me. If I go in, and I hadn't had that conversation, I decided just to have it. It was a hard conversation to have.
Sure.
And I just decided, I was like, look, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to do it right. I am not a politician. I sound like Donald Trump. I'm not a politician.
No, you don't.
I'm just not a politician, dude. If I'm going to go in, I'm going to run it not to get reelected. I'm going to run it like it's a business and run it like it's supposed to be ran in the way that I view it to be ran. Right. And I'm going to do that. And if people like it and I decide to run, they can reelect me. And if they don't, they just don't. But that's one of the things, especially here, I believe in our county that for a long time, people are in those positions to get reelected. I think nationally, it's the same thing. The decisions that these people make nationally is to get reelected. Right. It's not what's good for the people.
Political expediency that should be Mitch McConnell's middle name, really.
Yes, it really should. I mean, and I am not one. I don't need the job. I'll be just fine if I don't get the job. If I never have the job, I'll be just fine. Probably be better off, actually. Right. But as far as I would just run it, dude, like it's a business and do what I believe is the right thing for the people and all that. So I thought, why not, man? I'm just going to throw my name in and see what happens. And so filled out the application, sent my resume in. Haven't heard a word. Haven't heard a peep, but they've been in session down there. So I don't know. But I thought we talked about it for a long time last week, and I thought I'd just throw, kind of update everybody that I did decide to do it, but don't have any real hope in my mind. Like I said, I don't necessarily believe I will get appointed.
Like, how does these things usually work, Jimmy Don? You probably know much more about it than I do. Does the government usually take the full 30 days before making the appointment, or is it he just decide when he? How's that
I think it's both. I think it's just when they get time. He has to do it in 30 days. Right. The fiscal court appointed Victor Sloan. He's the longstanding magistrate and the guy who's probably the favorite to get the job to be the temporary judge, which is probably a good call on their part. Because, like I said, he's got a lot of experience. He really knows what's going on in county government.
He's a smart guy, too.
Smart guy, solid guy. I mean, like I said, I got a great deal of respect for him. And if he was chosen, I would be perfectly fine with that. But at the end of the day, I think he's got some time because they got, really what Victor said was that, he basically can sign checks and declare a national emergency or state of emergency if something happened. Right. And other than that, he has no power for the job or, from that office. So, so I think, the House was in session all last week and I think they were working late every night. So I don't think anybody heard anything. I would suspect you'll hear something the next couple of weeks, though.
Yeah, it should be interesting, man. See what happens, with this appointment. I think clearly there's two people, and I can't say that because I don't know who else has put their name in the hat. But clearly, I think you and Victor, when this job came open, those are the two names that come to my mind. I think talking to the community, you're the two names that come to a lot of people's mind. So we'll see how it goes, man. But good luck to you. If we get down, you get in there, man. I know you will do the right thing and do a good job.
I'll do my best, and like I said, and I wish Victor luck too, and and anybody else that's put their name in for that matter. Sure. And it's a big thing to do. It's a big responsibility to even put your name in. To if you get selected, it's a huge responsibility to have to oversee the business of a county and make sure that the things that are done are fiscally responsible. It's why it's called the fiscal court. But yeah, and I think myself or Victor, not toot my own horn, I think I would be fine. I think Victor would be fine. I don't know who else has, put their name in. I've heard a lot of different rumors, but I don't know for sure about any of them. So, but yeah. So we just wanted to touch on that a little bit just so everybody knew because we did spend a lot of time talking about it. And I thought, why not? I share everything. JD and I share everything on here. So
we overshare sometimes.
Yeah, we do. So, or you do. You overshare.
Hey, brother, I can share a lot more. I can tell you right now.
I know. And no, it don't. No.
Jimmy was like, no.
No. I know what you would share, and I don't want you overshare with me off camera. No. So a couple of more serious topics, JD, that I wanted to kind of talk to you about this week. And, there was the voter registration law.
It'd be good to have you if you keep me.
Yeah. That's funny.
Okay. Yeah.
Be good to have you if you keep me. Yeah. I like that, Eric. That's funny. But no, the Georgia passed or is trying to get passed through a new – basically tightening up, voting restrictions in the state of Georgia because a lot of the things that happened in the presidential election. And so they're trying to tighten up things as far as making it more secure is how they'll put it across, is making it more secure to vote. Then you had Biden, and a lot of people on the Democratic Party or the left come out and say that they're trying to restrict voters. They're trying to suppress the vote. They're trying to do those things. And then you had Major League Baseball actually remove the All-Star game, which was supposed to be in Atlanta. They actually removed it from Atlanta and going to put it somewhere else. And let's start first, JD, with the voter law and what you've been able to read about it. Like, what do you think about it?
So I think it's very clearly trying to keep people from voting, man. I think we're trying to, instead of making more people access to voting or making it easier to vote, they're trying to absolutely suppress voters, trying to suppress voters. There's a part of that bill, you're not allowed to go out and hand out water in line to the people who vote in election line. You're not allowed to make it comfortable. So if you're going to go vote, you got to be there. It could be hours you're there, and you're not allowed to have any kind of comfort. You ain't allowed to hand out water to them. And so it's absolutely voter suppression, in my opinion. I think I read a statistic this week where Georgia's voter fraud was 704%, so 0.0000004%. So to me, that they're trying to fix a problem they don't have. I think they're not happy with the way the election turned out in Georgia for 2020, and I think they're just trying to make sure there's not a repeat of that in 24 by putting in administrative tools that restrict people from getting out and having their voices heard. It's a bad law. It's a bad ideal. We need more people taking part in the process, not fewer people.
So let me ask you this. As far as I tried to read through it, right, and tried to find something, because especially when Major League Baseball did what they did, I was trying to think, okay, what is this? And where is the voter suppression? And they opened up, here are the things that I saw. The water in the line thing I think is stupid, but I don't, at the same time, nobody offers me water in line or has water there when I show up to vote.
Right. You probably never had to stand in line for 3 hours like you do in the big city.
I haven't either. No, and that's a fact. I haven't. But, they opened up another Saturday if needed, and maybe even another if they needed for early voting. The real big push was voter ID, being able to ID voters, that people that are voting. Took away the random boxes, I guess, that they had out in the community, for people to vote, made, those less and in more secure areas. Like, I couldn't find anything that I really thought was voter suppression. I thought the way that I read it was more making sure, beyond a shadow of a doubt, that nobody can question your election results by making it more secure. If you want to get it, for example, there are a lot of companies, right, in Georgia that are based in Georgia,
right,
that are kind of, going against this or, boycotting, whatever. They're just, they're putting out statements. But every single one of them, if you show up to their place of business for a shareholders meeting or for a board meeting, you have to present ID. You can't even get in the building if you don't present ID. And so I find it hypocritical for them to really even say anything, when you're trying to make sure that the people that are voting are actually the people voting. Because I'm with you 100%. I think the one thing we did discover is the mail-in balloting. It allowed a lot more people to vote. And I think that's a good thing. The Wild West aspect of it, and I'm sorry, and I'll let you go.
That's okay. Go ahead.
Mailing out, the biggest problem I had with it was I like the early voting, like where you can go in, have so many weekends early and early vote. I thought that was great in this last election. I think a lot of people were able to get out and vote because of that.
Sure.
I think the mail-in ballot is fine if it's done correctly and it's uniform across every single state. And I think there has to be some kind of voter ID. I don't think you should just mail ballots out to everybody because I think there is a case for fraud to be made. So go ahead now.
So I think, just saying that, I've heard people try to make the argument that, this guy received four ballots. Well, so what? He's only allowed to turn in one of them. If he turns in more than one of them, he committed a felony. And that comes with a lot of stringent problems. You're going to have some problems when you start turning in ballots that don't belong to you. And we've seen that happen. People trying to work the system, they got caught. And you know why they got caught? Because we had checks and balances in place. I think the system was working, man. I think people were not happy with the way it turned out, but the system worked. We had a Republican Secretary of State who said this is the most secure election we ever had, and it's the biggest amount of mail-in ballots we ever had. The safest and most secure election we ever had. As far as the Georgia thing, trying to take away these polling places, what you're doing is limiting access. So now you've limited access. You got to require an ID. You're just making it harder and harder for some of these people who may work odd jobs or odd hours or not have transportation or all these things. It adds up, man, to people not getting out and voting, and it's not a good thing.
What a lot of the argument is, JD, it's about ID, right? Verifying that the person that voting is the person. Why is that a bad idea?
Because a lot of people don't even have state issued IDs. Like if you go to Manhattan, man, New York, there's a lot of people don't have driver's license, and they just because they don't need them. There's no reason to have a license because you never drive. You're always on a bus or you're taking a train or you're walking because everything's right there. So the problem with it to me is you're trying to fix a problem we don't have. We don't have a voter problem. The idea that we should have a voter ID no matter what, you should have to have your ID no matter what. Well, show me the problem, and then we'll fix it. But right now, we don't have one. It's at 0.00004%. That's not a problem. We're spending a bunch of money, wasting a bunch of time trying to fix a problem we don't have.
So what about the question that a lot of the voter ID law, and I find it very hard to believe that even the people in New York do not have some kind of personal identification. Everybody has an ID these days. Even if you don't drive and you don't do those things, I figure that most people have. I have to go get Ashton one before we go to Disney World. They will not let her in Disney World to the dance competition without a photo ID.
Really?
Yes. And that's what I'm saying is you've got a lot of these places pushing back, and I don't understand why the photo ID is such a pushback. Why push back on the photo ID if there's not a problem with it? And I think a lot of it comes back to having people that are non-citizens vote.
I think what it is, though, is just making it one more step for people to have to vote. Instead of, like I said, we need better access, more access to voting, not tighter access. We need more people taking part of the process, not fewer people taking. So just one more step to have to go vote So it's another thing, man. They have to do to go vote. So it's obviously suppression. If there's another step and not less steps, that makes it more difficult to do, right? So to me, it's a very clear suppression tactic.
Yeah, and for me, like I don't. This is one of those where a lot of times we'll find common ground on, but I don't think that we will. I just want look, dude. I told you. You asked me if I thought the election was stolen, and I told you yes. And I still feel that way to a point because, as I told you, there are things number wise, especially in Georgia, that don't make sense and will never make sense to me, even after all that stuff was done. And they'll say, yeah, it was 0.004%. But there was a lot of things that happened there that don't make sense. And for somebody like me who does feel that way, if a little extra security and making sure people are identified and vote, and the election is safe and secure, then that to me is better because I don't want there to ever be a question that like there was this last time. I don't want there to ever be a question.
So let me play devil's advocate back to you. Why do we have things in there? You said nobody's ever given you water in a voting line. That's true, I'm sure. But why have that in there? If it's not clearly voter suppression, why have people can't give you water to stay in the line? Like what purpose does that serve?
My guess is that the people giving you water in lines, the idea behind it would be that they would be out there trying to ask for your vote for a candidate. Like say Biden's people, for example, showed up and they're giving out water. Hey, we'll give you a water if you go in here and vote for us, or it gives them the opportunity to campaign to them in line.
I think that's already illegal though, right?
No, you can't do that now. Right. Like there can't be any campaigning around the polling place.
Right.
And so I think that by them saying that, my guess is that there would be water and stuff available. Let's pop this up here.
Good
point. Poor inner city folks don't have IDs and do not want to go to the government offices that are required to get them. It takes days to get anything done. But are those people actually voting in the first place? Are those they should be? But are those people actually going to vote?
Well, yeah. Well, they don't have to go to vote. Now we can mail in vote. So it's
But what's wrong with having them have an identification? And maybe they don't want to go. That sucks. I don't want to go in there either.
So I get what you're saying. It makes a lot of sense, man. I get what you're saying, but I don't know how you can defend mail-in voting and saying it's a good thing, and then say on the other side we got to have voter IDs because if you're mail-in voting, you obviously can't be showing an ID when you mail-in vote.
Yeah, but there is a way to identify the person that's getting the ballot.
Right. And I think that's the same way when you go to the poll. Don't you have to sign your name and all that stuff
you do.
Right now? Yeah. So there's a way to identify it. I mean,
yeah.
And
like I said, I don't have a problem with
right. So your signature still has to match up, and in the systems, there's still checks and balances in places. To me, it's just a matter of suppression. Clearly, to me, I'm sorry.
Yeah, well, I just don't see. I'm like I said, man, and that's one of those. It's where we fundamentally disagree on certain things, and that's one of those things where I fundamentally disagree on that. Just because I feel like I want it to be safe and secure. I feel like I like the mail-in balloting, dude. I really do, because I think it gave people a bigger opportunity. Like, I'd almost like to see it where you could go on online and actually vote. You know, where you could vote from your computer.
Jason Reynolds put his thing up there.
Which
because
one?
I think he's a little bit confused about what we're saying. The workers of polling stations can have water, but not candidates. It's supposed to be candidates. That's not what we're talking about, Jason. We're talking about people who are standing in line to go vote. You couldn't go and give those people water and make their standing in line for hours and hours more comfortable, more convenient. That's illegal. It'd be an illegal thing to do. And to me, it's clearly suppression. And it's just probably some ground we're not going to find common ground on. But yeah. So what do you think about the MLB's decision to pull an event away from?
I think it's ridiculous. Like, I'm serious. I think it's ridiculous because, you know, again, it comes back to MLB. For their people to come to their meetings, they have to present ID. They can't even get in a freaking building if they don't present ID. And to take forward, I don't like it when Major League Baseball inserts itself into the politics. So now is Major League Baseball just a shill of the Democratic Party because Biden said this is a bad thing? And, you know, there's some things that Biden said that weren't even true. And, you know, you pull it out of that city just because that you're punishing those people for something that their government's doing, number one. Number two, you're inserting yourself into the political process. And I don't think that's right. You're a business. Stay in your lane. You're an entertainment business. Stay in your lane. That's just me. What about you?
I feel like that's just as American as apple pie, though. That's always been a thing. You know, black artists, black entertainers, you know, back in the civil rights movement, wouldn't go to places where black people weren't allowed to come in and see their shows. I think that was a good thing. This whole business neutrality thing, I'm just not on board with it. I just don't believe in it. I don't believe it's ever been a thing that where businesses have not been involved in politics. It's just not true. Businesses have always been involved in politics. They've always used their power and their money to influence politics. And I think it's the same thing here. And I think if Major League Baseball feels that strongly about it, they should be allowed to do it. And if people don't like it, they shouldn't watch baseball. It's just.
Yeah, how many people were relying on the money that the All-Star game was going to bring? It just hurt the workers of the community, and that's 100% the truth.
But it's going to go to somewhere else. It's not like it's not going to happen. They're going to just take it somewhere else.
Yeah, but it's not going to happen in that city.
Right, but it's also going to happen in another city where those people are going to get checks now they weren't going to get before. So, you know, it works out for other people, and it doesn't work out for some people. It hurts some and helps others.
It's also not free to get an ID. There are charges, and people just don't have the money. It's $12, dude. It's $12. Even those people that are poor could muster up $12 to go get an ID. I'm just telling you, like that to me is not an argument. You can get an ID.
You can get an ID, but it's just another
if you
step.
have a debit card, it's an ID.
It's just another step, though, man, in trying to fix a problem we do not have.
See, and that's where the fundamental disagreement is I feel like we do have a problem based on what I saw in this last election. I felt like we had a problem. And that's not me being propagandized to by the right or by Trump. It is me knowing what I saw and me knowing what I do every day with the number stuff, knowing what I do and what I saw. Something wasn't right, dude. There was something not right.
So Biden beat Trump by the same exact number that Trump beat Hillary by. Did you feel that way in 2016?
No, I didn't.
So what's the difference? What changed?
There wasn't these random statistical anomalies that happened then.
I mean, we just had more people show up to vote because Trump was so polarizing. I mean, that's what it comes down to, in my opinion. It's not that there were some numerical anomalies. We had an anomaly candidate. We had an anomaly president.
Numerical statistical anomalies are science, just the same as science is for COVID. Okay, and something wasn't right. I'm just here to tell you something wasn't right. And if I feel that way, there's a lot of other people feel that way. And shoring that up, in my opinion, is not a bad thing to do.
Yeah, but the numbers inside the numbers don't support that, though, from what I can tell. Because with the voter fraud numbers that are coming out by everybody, we don't have a problem, bro. So those are people who looked at those numbers, I'm sure, a lot closer than Both of us have.
Yeah, and I think this goes back to Brian David Bullett's point. You have to have an ID to sign up for any government funding or Section 8. So I don't buy not having an ID because you're poor. I don't either.
No, I don't buy that either. I just feel like it's just another step, though. Is that it's another reason? There's no reason for the step. We don't. Again, going back to where I guess our fundamental difference is, we're trying to fix a problem we just don't have.
Yeah. So like
Because,
I said,
sorry.
Go ahead.
I was just saying that people we've looked at these numbers over and over, and where are all the lawsuits coming out now? We've got the numbers, we've had the time, and they're not coming because they're not there. The numbers are what they are. They're anomalies. I get it. But we also had a president, man, who was more polarizing than probably any figure in our political history, maybe with the exception of maybe Abraham Lincoln. So driving people to the polls, I mean, I wasn't surprised by that. I was actually surprised the numbers weren't higher.
Sure. So as far as Major League Baseball goes, do you consider them to be a different type business because they're an entertainment? Like I know corporations get involved in politics all the time. Hell, every politician we've got is a corporate shill on both sides. And, but Major League Baseball, same thing when the NBA did what they did. Their viewership numbers went way, way down. And I love the NBA because I like watching the Kentucky guys play. But I got tired of the social justice stuff, dude. It's not what I was there for. I was there to watch the ball game, and the social justice stuff was going on. And I got tired of it, and it did cause me to not watch sometimes. I understood why they were doing it and respected what they were doing, and they had the right to do it. I just had the right to turn the TV off.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. And so do you think that like places, I guess, they do have a platform. I guess I can get on board with that. I just didn't think it was right for them to pull the All-Star game because of that. It has nothing to do with them.
Yeah. I mean, but like I said, man, that's American as apple pie. Businesses have always influenced politics, and Major League Baseball or all these sports entertainment companies, they're just business, man. When it comes down to it, it's about the bottom line. If they think they're going to lose too many people, if they stand up to these political programs, they're not going to do it because it's going to hurt their bottom line. That's just a fact. If they think they're going to gain or come out even, they'll do it. I mean, it's just business is business.
To me, it's cancel culture from the corporate level. Now you got cancel culture happening with a city or a state because they're doing something that they have a right to do, that they have the power to do, and you don't agree with it, so you just cancel them and you go somewhere else. I think it's wrong.
Well, I mean, we could have said the same thing about Ray Charles not going to Georgia and performing at Atlanta when the blacks couldn't get into the theaters. You're just an entertainer. You don't have a right to do that, but he does have though. He does have.
No, he 100% had the right to do that.
Right, and it ain't because he's black; it's because he's a person. Everybody has that right, man. Any business, if they think it's going to hurt their business, then they shouldn't do it, or depending on how strongly they feel about it. A lot of people said Nike was going to be hurt because Colin Kaepernick, and they stood by Colin when he pulled his protest. But that ain't what happened. Nike made a decision; they were going to back this guy, and it's ended up paying off for them. As much as a lot of people don't like it, the numbers say they made the right decision, and they put themselves into the political arena, and it's paid off for them. Now it could have hurt them, it could have, but it didn't. Yeah,
no, I mean that's a great point. I mean, because it is, a lot of people thought it would destroy Nike, but you knew it wouldn't. Too many people buying them shoes, man. I mean, and a lot of people who agree with that made a point to buy Nike shoes. I haven't bought a pair of Nike shoes since.
Right. And you got that right, man. You got that right.
I got that right. And that's not something I just don't support. What they did there. I didn't agree with it, and so I decided to vote. Or I guess make my stance known with my dollar, and bought a different kind of tennis shoe.
Hey, so yeah. I was getting ready to. Jason Chaffins, you're a smart guy, bro. Because we wouldn't go. We wouldn't even talk about this. Did we talk?
I was sitting here thinking about it too, though.
But yeah, I was too. So did you see all this mess, man?
I did. So basically, yeah,
hey, don't be knocking on the British Knights.
Listen, I'm 45. I'm rolling with Skechers.
Okay. So Lil Nas X.
No, I'm hitting the Skechers wide open. All right, so let's talk about Lil Nas X. All right, so basically, Lil Nas X bought shoes from Nike. Bought like 1,000 pair of shoes, and he did a pair of shoes called the Jesus shoes that apparently had holy water in them, in the bottom of them. Okay. And then he bought another 100 pair of shoes and had them customized, and they were basically the Antichrist shoes. and they supposedly had blood in the sole, human blood, and he sold out in like 6 minutes. Okay, and was selling these things for like $1,000 a crack. It was something stupid, and people went bananas and started blaming Nike. And the thing is it wasn't anything to do with Nike. He bought the shoes from Nike and then had them customized.
Yeah.
But people have lost their ever-loving minds, and apparently there's a bunch of devil worshippers out there. Yeah.
But, well, people are lazy. They're not going to look into it any further than Nike has a shoe that's got the Satan shoe, whatever, which is a whole other problem we have. But so now people are saying they're not going to buy any Nikes over that. They're saying they're not going to listen to Lil Nas X music. So how do you feel about that?
Again, it goes back to everybody has a right to do what they do. I didn't listen to Lil Nas X outside of Old Town Road.
It's not going to affect me at all, by the way.
It doesn't affect me any. And I'm also not buying devil shoes with blood in them. I also wouldn't pay $1,000 for a pair of Jesus shoes. So, it's one of those things that doesn't affect me in any way. I think it's just another thing to get people riled up over.
Okay, I think it's a great point. But do you feel like that's cancel culture? These people want to cancel out Nike because they supported Colin Kaepernick, or people want to now cancel Nike because what Lil Nas X has done? Because I feel like the right always wants to lay this cancel culture on the left, but man, the right has always been about cancel culture. I remember people burning Harry Potter books, 15, 20 years ago. I remember in high school not being able to. The kids not being able to go watch Bambi because there's too much violence in it because their mom and dad were, hardcore Christians. So I feel like cancel culture, is a phrase the right has coined to talk bad about the left, but the right is probably the worst offenders of cancel culture of all time. How do you feel?
I think that's valid. I think cancel culture goes both ways. I think the right has coined it because with social media, there was so much cancel culture going on social media. It made it very easy to blame the left for everything, right? I mean, it made everything. It just made it easy. They set themselves up to be coined that way. But you're 100% right. It goes on both sides every day. I don't buy things. Like I said, I haven't bought a pair of Nikes since. For me, my daughters have wanted Nikes. I have bought those Nikes for them. But I personally, when they went to watch Ariana Grande in concert, I bought the tickets, right? But I wouldn't go in there. I would not walk in there. She got my money, but my daughters wanted to see her, and that was fine. But I would not. I just would not go in there because I don't like her political stances. And the fact that the right canceled the Dixie Chicks is ridiculous.
Yeah,
but it's also ridiculous that the left made them change their names to the Chicks.
They didn't, though. I think they did that voluntarily.
Yeah, I'm sure they did, but because they were going to get pressure from the left. Democrats have been at the forefront of cancel culture since they went after the music industry, and that's a fact.
Tipper Gore, absolutely. But she's absolutely insane, by the way.
But but you're right in what you say.
That's not Democrats. See, here's what we get, man. And I think it's interesting that we say, the Democrats. Well, what are the Democrats? It was Tipper Gore. Like, the Democrats didn't go after the music industry. Tipper Gore went after the music industry. She went after rock and roll music. It wasn't the Democrats. It was this one crazy lady on the left, which is weird, right? Like, to know where those two parties are at now. Anyway, but yeah. So I feel like cancel culture, again, the phrase I've been using a lot this show for some reason, is American as apple pie. We've always tried to cancel things that we didn't agree with, which I think is a sad, wrong thing to do, man, honestly.
I just think it's on a different level now because of social media.
Everything's amplified. Everything's amplified,
that's right,
man.
But I think you're 100% right as far as it's as right as it is left. The left has just been more prevalent, especially the 4 years that Trump was in office, that if you had anything to do with Trump, they were coming after you. It was crazy. And they used social media to do that. And so it made it more prevalent, and they kind of set themselves up for the right to be able to call them that. But 100% the right does the same thing.
Yeah, I think he was. It's been a few weeks ago, but I made a Facebook post about it. This guy on Fox News, about how he'd been canceled because cancel culture. He was like, "Bro, you're on Fox News right now talking. There's nobody canceling you. You got an audience. You're still talking. You're still being interviewed." People, I think sometimes we are foolish in the arguments or the battles we try to fight that aren't really, like Pepe Le Pew being canceled. Nobody on the left wanted Pepe Le Pew canceled. It's a genius marketing strategy. But I bet you Pepe Le Pew stuff are flying off the shelves.
Right. No, absolutely. I'm going to play something. I don't know if you saw or heard this. I'm going to try to play this. I don't know if you'll be able to hear it or not. Just let me know if you can hear it, okay?
Okay.
But this is something that Charles Barkley said last night on the game, and it kind of goes along with this perfectly. And so let me see.
Shared that news, how painful it was. Yeah, but the one thing I took out of that piece was, man, I think most white people and black people are great people. I really believe that in my heart. But I think our system is set up where our politicians, whether they're Republicans or Democrats, are designed to make us not like each other so they can keep their grasp of money and power. They divide and conquer. I truly believe in my heart most white people and black people are awesome people, but we're so stupid following our politicians, whether they are Republicans or Democrats. And their only job is, hey, let's make these people not like each other. We don't live in their neighborhoods. We're all got money. Let's make the whites and blacks not like each other. Let's make rich people and poor people not like each other. Let's scramble the middle class. I truly believe that in my heart.
So that, he was talking about the blacks and whites, but you can say that about the Democrat and Republican Party as well. And one of the things that I think that we want to, really push on here is what Charles just said. And I thought that was very, very, I was like, amen, Charles.
So I think Charles has been listening to just that bourbon podcast. I don't know.
Apparently,
we've been saying that, bro, for a minute. I feel like
he said that last night.
People are starting to catch up to it, I think. But how long have we been saying that, man? Since we took on to the air, we've been saying that. It's all about divide and conquer. And now, not to jab at your boy, but I thought Trump was the worst, man. Like for dividing and trying to create that division where he keeps his people happy. I've got enough votes. I've got enough people happy over here, and I don't care what anybody on the left says, or maybe he's just not. I don't know. What do you think?
No, I think Trump was bad for it. I really do. I think he was bad for it. It's one of my least favorite things about him. But he did a lot of stuff that I really liked policy-wise. And I thought it was better than I agreed more with him what he was doing on the left. Like I said, the border issue that we've got right now, I think he talked a lot about, canceling. And like I said, I just don't want MLB, and that's what this originally started from, canceling Georgia because they decided to do this voter law thing. But no, I think you're 100% right as far as both sides. They both do it. They cancel culture each other. It's just the right coin the phrase. But no, I think you're 100% right on that, dude. Now, I think what Charles said applies across every level because, they want to keep us divided and separated and us having, silly. I mean, it creates something interesting for me and you to sit around and talk about. But it's, still, and social media has been the worst for that as far as getting people to really, go at each other.
So one of the things you'll find, man, is these algorithms on social media platforms. You're more likely to see things you disagree with. You know why? Because you're more likely to interact with it and respond to it.
Sure.
And that is the genius behind a lot of the social media marketing. We talked about the social dilemma on here many times. You guys haven't watched that? Go check it out. Purple Rain caused all of this.
Shaving.
But it's a legit thing, man. We are so divided, so busy fighting each other. It's hard for us to get anything accomplished because we're fighting. It's, house divided cannot stand, and I don't think they care, man. The people at the top with money, they're already good. They don't care. Like what happens in your neighborhood, in my neighborhood, and in Charles Booker's neighborhood in West End Louisville, they don't care. They're not concerned. It's not their everyday life. And so we got to find some leaders instead of politicians. That's what we got to do. And we got to stop voting. We got to stop voting for people based on their party and start voting for people based on their character and what they can accomplish.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's well said. Like I said, with Trump, the thing I thought Trump did that I liked, and it goes to this, is he was kind of pulling the curtain back somewhat to how the government really operates. There were certain things that he would bring about that I thought he did a good job with, about how the government is designed to hold us back and hold us down, specifically the middle class. And, like we've talked about with some of the other things with minimum wage and all that, like I feel like that's a ploy to shove the middle class down further. Ultimately, I think that's what occurs. But as far as, no, they definitely try to keep us separated, JD. I don't think there's any question about that. All right, dude, we're at 50 minutes already, and I don't mean to switch over here. Go ahead.
I actually wanted to ask you something. I actually just wanted to, we didn't talk about this other subject I wanted to bring up too, but I feel like we need to talk about this huge infrastructure bill that's Biden's getting put through, which I think is an absolutely great thing and needs to be done.
Too.
It's going to put people to work. It's not going to be handouts, which is a great thing. So I'm excited about to see, there's going to be some money out there for infrastructure, which I think is well past due. Every president, I can't remember. I guess since Ronald Reagan, every president has talked about how they're going to take care of our infrastructure and get us moving forward. And guess what? We never get it. It never comes through. And now Joe Biden, like him or not, vote for him or not, man, this is something that we need, and it's something that's going to get done. And I'm excited for it, and excited about the work it's going to provide and the training it's going to provide for our future generations.
I hope so, JD. And I mean, I'm being dead serious when I say this. If Biden gets that through and it works like it's supposed to work, because we're already gearing up to go after a lot of that money for our water district and some other things. There's going to be work that can be done on our roads and, trying to get our internet grid up to par. That's something that a small community like ours can open ourselves up to the world economy if we have really, really good internet and have it everywhere. Like, I think there's some genius to I think kids should go to school every day. There are a lot of kids, for in-person learning, there's a lot of kids who don't have access to the internet that can't do the virtual, but I think it's a good way, especially with snow days and things like that. The virtual, you could make a mix of that and make it really, really solid. But I mean, I know that's a completely different subject.
No, but I think right. I agree with you.
But I think that's something like, I think this county where we live, this state, should go after every dollar of that. And I'm going to be honest with you, brother. If he gets that through and it works, if they don't do anything else really crazy, as far as like, I'm really concerned about the border. We talked about that last couple of weeks. There's some other things I've heard that they're intending to do that if they do, I just can't get behind. But this is something that would cause me to potentially vote for Biden for a second term, because you're putting people to work. And it's something that we desperately need here. And I travel a lot, so I see it across the United States, how bad our roads are and how bad, not just in Kentucky, not just in Eastern Kentucky,
absolutely
everywhere. And, if he gets that through, it'd be something that I'd really take pause and consider.
I think something I read the other day, because obviously I'm in water now, but I think there's going to be like $11 billion allocated for water.
Yes.
So, I mean, there's going to be some money out there. And the problem is, man, and I know this is getting a little bit to this area, talk about this area a little bit, maybe more than we want, but, we need a grant writer to go after this money, man, because we need it bad. A lot of these big cities will go get after this money too, and they're going to get it just because they're going to be able to write the grants and have people in place and shaking the right hands and, all those things. But we need a grant writer in the worst way. And, if you get appointed, man, I know that's something high on your list to make sure
that's number one on my list, to be honest with you. There's a couple other things that are 1A and 1B, but that would be number one, is to work that out and go get a real grant writer, writer.
We don't have money, man. You can't do anything.
That's right. And you got to go after it. You got to go get it. You got to know how to go get it. And that's one of the things I've learned in, with the water district. Because like I said, dude, we're gearing up. We go after every dollar, that we could possibly get our hands on. And those grants aren't easy. They make them specifically hard, and there's 5 different levels of government, bureaucracy you got to go through to be able to get one. It's insane. It truly is. Like, it's insane. But no, you need a grant writer, somebody that knows how to work the system and knows how to work the paperwork to be able to get that. So, no, that's a great question. I'm glad you brought that up, because I'm serious. I'm dead serious. That is something, if done right, and you're able to get the money in here, that's something that I would support a Democrat maybe next time around. If that's something that they're working towards, because I think that's good for the people. So hopefully that's what happens.
Yeah. So I just think that's important that we see that. I don't know why. I don't know how this happened, but they're like, I've heard so many people talk about how Democrats are offer free rides or want to, support bums, or that's never been the case, man. Never. Democrats, I don't have a whole lot of Democrats on my Facebook friends. Let's just be honest. But all of them I have my Facebook friends, all of them have jobs. All of them work day in, day out, man. Some of the hardest workers I ever worked with are Democrats. Nobody wants to just be hands out, man. Nobody wants socialism. I don't want socialism. I want a fair process. I want capitalism with socialism. I want all those. I want them to work together because capitalism by itself sucks, and socialism by itself sucks. But there are times when we can have a mixture of those things and make them work. And an infrastructure bill of this magnitude is one of those things where we can really help middle America, not only with our infrastructure, but with job training and job security going forward. So I'm excited about this bill.
Yeah. That's cool, man. I'm excited about it too. I'm dead serious. I'm excited. It's something I wanted Trump to do the whole time he was in there.
Yeah, well, and like I said, every president has promised this.
Yeah.
But now that the Biden is actually taking it on, and he's got a team together working the numbers, how's it going to work, how we're going to put the plan. I'm excited, man. And like you said, I think it will work. It may take some time, but I think it will work. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah,
Okay,
I'm pumped for it 100%. All right, so we are at 56 minutes, and I need to finish up here because JD, I'm on a game show tonight.
I forgot, man. My bad.
No, that's all right. I'm on a game show tonight. It's called Rigged. It's on YouTube, and it's my dude Slotted Up 503. He's out in Oregon. He came up with this show called #Rigged. And myself and a guy, Gary B, the Casual Comic Guy, are going to go on there and do some comic book trivia. Uncle Dewey.
Dewey, you're too late, bro. We don't want to do that.
Yeah, we already went through that, Dewey. How dare you jump on at the very end of the show?
Yeah.
But no, I'm going to be on this the game show. It's the Easter edition. And myself and this guy, Gary B, the Casual Comic Guy, are going to be on, do some comic book trivia, and see how we go. It's going to be ridiculous. I'm going to get destroyed. I like to read comic books, but I am not necessarily a historian of comic books, so I'm going to get killed.
Yeah, but that's still fun to do, though, right? Like, it's just because you enjoy comic books so much. So just anytime, it's like me talking about football. Anytime I get a chance to talk about football, I'm excited about it. So good luck to you, man. I know you're going to do all right. You're all right. You're okay. What time you go? What time's the game? Jimmy Don.
7:30.
Oh, 7:30. There you go.
Yeah, so that's why I've got to finish up here, and then I've got to jump off and go over and get in there and get ready for that. So, and then I got to download the podcast and get it on Podbean and all that good stuff. So,
all right. So I got two quick things. One,
fire away.
I did another YouTube video last night, and I put it on today. We did another bourbon review at the Horse Park. Me, Brian, and a buddy of ours from up there, and Dad. We all sat together. We did the Horse Soldier bourbon. I put that review. Sat at a picnic table and just did a review, man. They was like, "You want to do a review?" I was like, "Hell yeah, let's do it!" So we did it. Had a good time with that. We got some tattoos this past week too.
Oh yeah, let me see yours.
Yeah,
is it somewhere where you can see it?
Well, you can always see it, Jimmy.
Oh, nice. I like that.
It's a Reaper, obviously.
Yeah, I like that. Now, what did Chase get? I saw he was getting his on his shoulder.
Yeah, so Chase got almost sleeved up, man. He got a big, huge tattoo, but he likes the anime, so he got a big samurai mask with a little samurai demon-looking mask with a snake coming through it and all kinds of crazy designs, man. It looks awesome, man. It looks awesome. It's not the devil. It's not a demon. Everybody, man, people are wild, y'all. But
now, you all went across the street from my office up there in Pikeville, didn't you? Up there, Small
Sacred
Town?
Mountain? No, we went to Sacred Mountain.
Sacred, yeah, that's right across the street from my office.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure. But we went up there, took a day off Wednesday, and that's what he wanted to do for Christmas, man. That was his Christmas gift. We just now couldn't get in, man, for a tattoo shop. Couldn't get in. And so we went together and hung out. And it worked out really well. We're supposed to have the same guy do our tattoos. The guy who did his tattoo doesn't really do this style of tattoo that I got. And so I'm over. I was kidding.
Yeah.
So he ended up not doing my tattoo, but the guy who does this style tattoo ended up having his appointment canceled. So me and him was getting tattooed at the same time, hanging out. It was a good day, man. It was cool to hang out with him, like do that.
That's cool, brother. Good times. Yeah, I saw the pics. I was like, oh, that's cool. Yeah, so what good is tats, JD?
I mean, there's a start, man. People like art. People like different things. Like some people are car people, some people are tattoo people, some people are music people. I mean, it's just I like tattoos, so I just got it. That's something I like.
I like that one though. I like the one that you got there. I think that was cool.
Yeah, so I've got the Tree of Life down below it, and I've got the death thing up above it. And I think
Did that hurt on the inside like
bro,
that?
I ain't gonna lie. Like I didn't move. Like he was like, "You gonna be able to handle this?" I was like, "Tattoo that damn thing,"
Yeah.
And so I didn't move, but now it was hurting, man. It was
because that's such
you
a
got
tender
tattoos?
area.
Yeah,
yeah.
well, he had to shade it in too, man, real dark. And so he kept going over and over and over, and I was like, "Oh,"
because this
it was
one,
hurting.
it hurt, but that's not a tender area of your arm. And I always just thought, God, that would hurt right there. To get it right there, that would hurt like the devil.
Yeah. So he's like, "You want to put it on your bicep?" And I was like, "I don't know if my bicep's big enough, but I think it turned out good."
Yeah, that looks good. All right, so now that we've looked at JD's arms, we can finish. There's nothing really else to talk about. That's right, nothing really else to talk about. So, look, guys, we appreciate it. We'll be back next Sunday. Talk about the week's events.
Coop.
Yeah, Coop's a good one. Super Cooper. We'll be back, talk about the week's events. For now, you can go check us out, of course, on all our social media pages. Go ahead, JD.
We're going to put the link for the tickets for the Donnie Baker Show on the Just Add Bourbon Facebook. I'm going Baylor for.
I'm going Baylor too, Coop.
We're going Baylor. Make sure you get them, guys. I'm telling you. Y'all think we're kidding around about these tickets? They're going to be gone when we start doing these corporate sponsorships. These tickets are going to be eat up quick. So you better get them.
Yeah, so if you want to get them, you better get them. Because we want the people in Martin County. We don't want to give away the corporate sponsors. But as soon as they start doing their thing, they'll be gone. So you better get them. All right, so look, where you can find us, iTunes, Spotify, Amazon Music, all those places. Podbean is where the podcast launches from. You can check us out there. JD's doing his work on all our social media accounts. And guys, as always in this thing, for myself and for my boy JD, no matter how bad your week's been, no matter how bad your day's going, if you just add bourbon, it always gets a little bit better. Everybody have a good week, and we will see you next Sunday.